Greetings, I'm Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. As we continue our journey through the Hublot catalog today, we discuss the intriguing and versatile 42mm Hublot Classic Fusion Racing Gray Chronograph Titanium. As the name suggests, it's a watch defined by its explosive metallic sunburst racing gray dial. 42mm in titanium, both polished and satin finish. It's a timepiece that is surprisingly slim on the wrist, sitting only 12mm above the wrist. It slides underneath any cuff. It's an excellent match for a smaller forearm, and you can see on my 16cm circumference wrist, it sits naturally with the natural camber or downward turn of the case ends, wrapping it around a smaller wrist rather than flaring out stridently. And lug-to-lug, it is a very wearable 50.7mm. The strap, as fitted, is consistent with Hublot's philosophy of materials fusion. Natural alligator leather in anthracite gray on the top with a monotone stitch. It also features a thick-cut natural vulcanized rubber base, the idea being to wear light on the wrist, wear soft against the wrist, but also isolate that leather from the natural oils, heat, sweat, moisture, and grit of the wrist for a long-wearing durability about this strap. Now, the clasp is thoughtfully designed. It features Hublot's signature polished H-pattern bolts, which are omnipresent throughout the watch. You see them on the lug hoods as well as the bezel. You also have double finish of satin and polish on the clasp, and a twin trigger release. So this one not friction fit, nor locked by a cheap clamshell. This is a premier piece and a premium piece on which money was clearly spent. And you can see that inside as well, where the Hublot marquee is present in the hidden chassis of the clasp with both satin and polished internal finish. The clasp essentially hides excess length. Once strapped and sized, there are no minder loops atop the strap. There is no excess length flapping in the breeze, as all excess length is clipped and clasped underneath the body of the deployant. Jumping back to the case, you can see the watch is a study in contrasts of materials, yes, the titanium of the case and bezel, contrasting with the bezel gasket that separates them, but also of line and finish. You can see the satin finish atop the bezel as well as atop the lug hoods, and the sharp, almost masculine creases and folds of the end, the sharp angles contrasting with the sinuous curvature of the case flank. Sexy, flame surfacing, dancing in the light, almost a Zaftig appeal. The timepiece has that contrast between polish and satin, sharp lines and curves. It also has a vaguely industrial aesthetic. As the machine is brought from the inside out, there's a layering to the case reminiscent of engines, of car structures, of skyscrapers, and you can see the burly shouldered chronograph pushers, again, bringing that machine from the inside out with an Hublot signature crown. Turning over to the dial side, the material is fully expressed with different forms and different finishes. You have the dial base, which is a metallic, and then you have, we'll get a little bit closer and focus, you have the polished surfaces, the polished chapter rings for the registers of chronograph minutes and the crosshair style counter for constant seconds. There's a facet that slopes down from the dial base to the black date disc at 6 o'clock, nicely keeping the bilateral symmetry of the dial intact. Faceted and polished hands at center with the Hublot counterweight to chronograph seconds, and faceted rhodium-plated applique indices for the hours with a double index at 12 o'clock. In the soft light of my light box, the dial of this watch explodes. In direct sunlight, it is an absolute fire. This is a timepiece that makes the most of ambient light at any level, indoors or outdoors. The watch has a number of refinements. You can see underneath the sapphire display caseback, the Hublot caliber 1153 automatic bidirectional winding 42-hour power reserve. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour and has a 50-meter water resistance courtesy of advanced sealing. It is a slim caliber that keeps the watch thin in profile. It features both stop seconds, so if you pull the crown out to extremity, you will stop the seconds of the watch for precise setting against a reference time. And the subdued date disc, you're going to have to take my word, it's there, can be quick set so you can rapidly cycle the date to correct the watch should it run down or encounter an irregular length month. You can see this Hublot Classic Fusion Racing Gray Chronograph Titanium and the entire Hublot collection on our website, govbergwatches.com.